Welcome to the Wonderspaced show with Ms.Natalie.
In case you want to discover, there's so much to uncover. Are you an explorer? Yes! Then join us on an adventure. All you need to do is
Look closely, think carefully,
solve many problems.
wait. That's not all.
We are the Wonderspaced explorers. We create things big or small and beautiful. We are WONDERFUL. We are wonderful.
La 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 la.
Wonderspaced.
Oh, hello. I was just trying to come up with a new design for my paper plane. Do you think the design or shape will affect how fast or how far it flies? Oh, that was a smooth flight, wasn't it? Wonderspace Explorers, can you guess what we're going to learn about today? Exactly, planes. Have you ever flown in a plane before? Don't worry, even if you haven't, I'm sure you've heard them flying over your house. Sometimes they can be really loud. We have lots of different types of planes. That's right, we have large planes and relatively small planes. We have planes that transport passengers and planes that transport cargo. We have planes that are called propeller planes, and we have planes that are known as jet planes. What else? That's right, we even have fighter or army planes. What's your favorite type of plane? Wonderspace Explorers, I have a really special surprise for you today. We're going to meet a real pilot and get on a real plane. I'm so excited. Are you ready for adventure? Let's go and meet a real pilot. Wonderspace Explorers, I'm sure you're thinking, Miss Natalie, you're not a real pilot and this is not a real plane. Well, you are right, but I do feel like a pilot in here. I have a question for you. What type of plane is this modeled after? That's right, a propeller plane. And the propellers, they do work. All right, are you ready to pretend to be a pilot? Are you ready to put your flight skills to the test? Are you ready for takeoff? Captain Natalie, we're out. Let's see how the pilots start their day. Come on.
I do this train.
Can you see them in their uniforms? Come.
I'm sorry. They're here.
Their uniforms are so cool. Let's surprise them. Hello.
Hi. What's up?
Nice to meet you.
Yes. Victor, Captain Amwa,
Miss Natalie.
First Officer Bernard Annan.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so we have Captain Amwa and
First Officer Bernard Annan.
First Officer Bernard Annan.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, what
you
about
have
you?
really amazing uniforms.
Thank God for that.
Can you tell us a little bit about your uniforms? I see you have different bands on your uniforms.
Yes. So just like any career or in the military, you start off somewhere. Everybody starts off as a co-pilot when he's fresh from flying school. And there are ranks. The ranks of the co-pilot is between 1 to 3.
Oh.
It's a certain rank. So some exams, some period of time, then they move to the next rank to become a captain.
Oh.
So the fourth one, the 4 bars mean captain.
All right, so
Anything
Captain
1 to
Amwa
3.
has 4 bars, which means he's a captain. And how much does Officer Bernard
First,
have?
he has 2 bars, so he's become a first officer.
Okay,
2 strings means first officer.
All right, so 2 means first officer, and 4, what does that mean?
Captain.
Captain,
Or-
amazing.
Or better still, 1 to 3 are all co-pilots, but they have ranks.
Right.
The 4th is the captain.
Amazing.
Yes.
Do you want to be a captain when you grow up? All right, can you tell us what you're doing?
Okay, this is where our day starts, if you want to know where it starts. It's not like a car, we just sit in the car and just spark it and off we go. But when we come to work, this is the nerve center of the whole airline. It's called the Flight Operations Control.
Flight Operations Control.
FOC for short. So when we get here, first thing we do, we sign, make sure that our licenses are valid to work and are medical valid.
Okay.
Then we review a lot of paperwork. First thing, weather. We want to know whether where we are, Kotoka, the route, and the destination.
Right.
What is it like?
Exactly.
Is it within the acceptable tolerance limits? If yes, we go. If no, do we delay? Do we cancel things? This is where we take all the decisions.
All right.
So if you look on the screen, for example, we are here where the cross, around where the cross is Accra. We're going to Roberts, that's somewhere here. Then Sierra Leone is somewhere here. So this is what tells us that rainfall, anything coming. If there was rain, you see something like this. If it was on our route, you see something like these things. Mean that rain, with this intensity. So basically, we start off after signing off, weather. What's the weather like? Like I said, here, origin, routes, destination.
All right.
Then we take our decisions.
Okay, so Wonderspace Explorers, first Captain Amor has to sign in, and then they have to make important decisions before the flight takes off. What's one of the most important things? They have to check the weather. And is the weather clear?
Today, yes, it is clear. For the time that we are going to go there, it gives us a forecast. By the time you get there, this is what it's going to look like. We review all these things. So now weather out of the way, now the aircraft we are going to fly. What is the status? Right. The engineers or the maintenance department will send the status on this sheet here. The status here tell us about the aircraft, whether it's okay to go, what work did they do previously before we are going to accept it, everything we need to know about the aircraft to here.
So two keywords, nerve center and the heartbeat. Every decision for your flight happens here. Yes. What countries are you going to today?
Today we're going to Monrovia, Liberia. Then from there to Sierra Leone and back.
Wow.
That's Freetown, Sierra Leone and back.
So in one day, Captain Amor and Officer Bernard are going to Liberia
and Sierra
Leone and back to Ghana all in one day.
Yes. So after the aircraft, like we said, weather, aircraft status, then we have the dispatcher who is going to tell us everything. They do these researches ahead of us. The paperwork that we need to sort out, fuel-wise, how much fuel are we taking based on the weather, everything. They do everything before we come. So when we come, like they are telling us a story. Then we just listen to the story. Then we will decide among ourselves here again to whether to delay, go on time, cancel, or do anything.
So Wonderspace Explorers, pilots have a lot of decisions to make before they finally fly. I realize there's a little difference in your hats.
Yes, yes.
What's the difference?
Oh, just that the captains have an extra, marking here at this part of the hat. He's a captain. Actually, the captain is just supposed to be the one in charge of the whole crew. And just like a football captain, in charge of the crew, their lives and everything. Decisions, we all take it. We discuss. I'm the final one responsible for taking the final decision. Okay, right. So that is why maybe, I don't know. It's been a tradition for years. What is the longest flight you've ever done? I've always been more focused on the regional flights. So something like 4 hours. In fact, I've done a lot. About sometimes 9 hours stretch sometimes. When they are ferry flights, sometimes we go to other countries to go and bring aircraft from there back home, and you have to make a lot of stops. And even before you make the stops, you do more flights, like more hours. So like I say, maybe 9 hours ago, maybe, or 4 or 5 hours. 9 hours. Yes. And in your whole flight career or flight journey, how many countries have you been to? Uncountable. As for Africa, almost everywhere. Almost every African country. Europe, 2/3. Wow, that's amazing. And is First Officer Bernard always your co-pilot? No. Or you changed? We changed as many as we did. Okay. So I'm going to ask the two of you, how did you decide that you wanted to be a pilot? Mine is. Okay, let him say it. Okay.
It's a passion from childhood.
Okay. So First Officer Bernard wanted to be a pilot since he was little. Do you want to be a pilot too? Let's ask Captain Amor how he became a pilot or why he wanted to become a pilot. Same thing here, same story like from childhood, but I did a lot of follow-ups. Every Saturday I used to come to the airport. In those days, I used to come to the airport, see planes take off and land, and I come at 9 and go at 2 o'clock. I've been doing that ever since I was maybe 8 years. Everything was just flying. Well, we used to live at cantonments and the aircraft goes over our roof during takeoff. And I said, that's what I wanted to do. I've never known any other profession apart from this. Okay, so when Captain Amor was little, when he was 8 years old, he didn't have YouTube to watch the planes take off and land. So he used to go to the airport every weekend to see the planes take off and land. And he says, I want to be a pilot when I grow up. So if you want to be a pilot when you grow up, you have to start learning about planes. Wonderspaced Explorers, we're going into the cockpit. Have you ever been in a cockpit before? Let's go and see. Hey!
Welcome to my office.
Yes!
And the magic, so much magic.
I can see a plane.
Yes, this is what it does before it takes off. So much magic.
This is an amazing office of yours. This is where all the magic happens.
Yes.
Captain Amor, there are so many dials. How do you know which one to press?
Okay. Technically, this aircraft is divided. Every aircraft is divided into the flight instrument side, the engine instrument side, and the systems. There are so many things that come together to make an aircraft. Electricity, fuel, hydraulics. We have air conditioning systems.
Ooh.
We have the anti-ice, that when we are flying in ice, it doesn't ice the aircraft. And we have all those things that come together. It depends on what you are looking at. I did a inspection to make sure that everything is okay. Then now I have to do the internal inspection. We have to check everything, make sure it's okay before we call for boarding.
All right.
Then there's a document I'll sign to tell the engineers that I've seen everything, I'm okay to go with it.
Okay.
This is what we use to take off. If you okay, this you drive.
I do.
Yeah, so the accelerator, when you take it forward,
Oh.
this is what gives the power when the aircraft goes forward. When you push this lever, it's called a throttle.
Okay.
Throttle.
The throttle.
Push it forward, more speed. Take it back, less speed.
All right.
Yeah, that's the throttle. Yeah, so push it forward, you see, there's more speed, then you pick it back, less speed, things
All
like
right.
that. This is what is the control column. If I'm taking off, I pitch it, let me slowly take it forward.
Slowly take it forward?
Yeah, yes, so when you take forward, if we're flying, the aircraft will be doing this, descending.
Oh, wow.
Then if you take it backwards towards you,
Yes.
it's going up like this.
Oh, wow.
Then you use this one to measure how many degrees.
I'm flying.
Yes, how many degrees is the altitude will show you how many degrees the aircraft is doing over here. There's a
Wow.
limit for every phase of the flight. So this is if you want to turn left, you go this way.
You can turn.
Yeah, this way, and you can also turn right this way.
Wow.
That way, this is a control column. So basically, what you'll be looking at is, like I said, speed, attitude, altitude, compass, and vertical speed indicator. Then this is, like we said, the control column. You want to go, you want to pitch up or climb, you take it towards you. If you want to go down, you take it like this, according to your attitude. This is what will tell you what to do. Throttle, more speed, to the accelerator. Here, less speed, bring it back. Okay, basically these are things, and this is what we call our flight navigation, so a flight management computer. What happens is that we'll plot all the routes where we are going to, along all the points we'll be going over, we put it over here.
Okay.
Then it will register itself here. And there's a way of telling, when we are in airborne, to reduce our workload, this AP you see here is called the autopilot.
Okay, autopilot,
Yes,
right.
so when we take off up to some altitude and we give it to the autopilot, and the autopilot will just obey what we put over here. That's the routes. What it will do, it will just be doing everything. And the speeds, if I want whatever speed, I put in speed, I set whatever speed I want to do. The altitude, when the autopilot is getting to this altitude, 1,000 feet too, it will warn you. So basically for someone like you, this is what we need to see.
Wow.
The flying instruments, the engine instruments, the control column, the throttle,
Yeah.
and basically for now the flight management computer. But what we are going to do right now is to check every single instrument on the aircraft. Wait, I'm coming.
Okay.
It's me. This is me. Okay. We are going to check every single instrument on the aircraft before we call for boarding.
Okay.
Yes. So basically this is what we have. This is what controls the fuel system. If I want to control the fuel system that is pumping to the engine at the correct pressure, temperature, everything, this is what it does. This is for electricity in the aircraft. How is the aircraft powered electrically? We have so many generators and everything we want to know about the generators and the batteries here. Air conditioning systems here. Then we have what we call pressurization systems. You know, as when you are climbing to higher altitude, the air pressure becomes thin. So if you don't do something about it, you suffocate and die. So there's a system here, the auto, which works with this one. And as when you are climbing higher, it's pumping like a balloon, pumping more air into the aircraft. So that the pressure, we get enough air pressure. This is what controls it. So there are so many things that make up the aircraft. This one also, the engine. What the engine controls are here. The starting buttons are here.
Ooh.
So all here. So this is what controls the aircraft. Now with all these things I've mentioned, if I want to monitor whether it's doing what I want it to do, I go into the pages. So here is systems. I go here. Air conditioning is here. Fuel is here. Hydraulic, electricity.
Okay, so you control how we feel in the cabin?
Yes, here, through here. Cabin temperature, cockpit temperature.
Right.
Whether it's doing what I want it to do or what we want it to do. So many systems make up the aircraft, and that's what is here. This is for the fire. These red things you see over here is for the fire.
Okay.
So if let's say we get a fire in the second engine, there's a way we extinguish it here.
I see.
And to just kill the fire.
We don't want a fire on the flight.
So, but if it is, in our language, it's not we don't want. Our language is if it happens, what do you do? In our language.
Okay, so you have all these emergency equipment.
And we have a checklist to go through the motion. And hydraulic. Hydraulic is what gives us the fluid to brake.
Okay.
You know, things like that to raise the landing gear up. If we take off, we take the ties. Layman, you call it ties. The ties have to go into the belly.
Okay. So you use this button,
yes,
and that's when the wheels go into the plane.
Yes, and now if you want to land like we bring this lever down.
Okay, so when it's time to land, you click on this, and the wheels will come out.
This system which controls everything that I want to do, gives that fluid for it to come out and things like that is done through here.
All right. Okay, Captain Amor, thank you so much for showing us this amazing cockpit. You must be really smart to know what this button does, this button, and they're really, really tiny buttons up here as well.
Yes.
So, when you're flying at night, how do you see? How do you know where you're going?
Like I'm saying, you put the routes into the flight management computer, and it will register itself. Here it's called a multifunction display. So all you're doing is just following the routes. We need to know that we are on track. If there's any weather, let's say we are flying along and there's bad weather ahead, this is what will come.
Okay.
Or the multifunction, this yellow. This is the intensity. Green means less intensity of the weather. Yellow means moderate.
Okay.
Red means don't go through it.
Wow.
So this is where we say, okay, you know what? This one you're taking over from the autopilot. You take it over like this, and you take this knob to go around it and things like that. So at night, all we need to know is, are we on the right route? Are we on the right altitude? So we don't fly looking outside like a car.
So you don't need to see.
No, you don't need to see. Everything is here.
All right.
That's why, and everything you need to know about the weather is here. Then we hear this radio communication. We talk to tower. If tower wants to separate you from other aircrafts, there's a way we talk to them. They will separate you accordingly. So you don't really need to look outside.
Right.
You can fly through Hamatan and everything and you'll be fine, yes.
So pilots don't actually need to see where they're going.
No.
They rely on all the screens and dials, and they communicate with the tower, and they are on the ground.
Yes.
Okay. How do planes fly? You control from the inside, but what's the science behind flights?
Okay, the science behind flights is that as you saw the aircraft accelerating, it's accelerating to a point where now it becomes lighter than air.
Wow.
Then that's when you use, when we get to a certain speed, the takeoff speed based on the weights and everything, then that's when we pull it. But when it gets to that speed, we pull this one gently towards us. Yes, you can do it, have a go. No, take it gently to, and you'll be looking at this reference, a pitch reference, to pull it up to. After you've accelerated to a speed, which makes it lighter than air, then it wants to go up.
Okay, what are the basic concepts of flight?
It's lifts.
Okay.
Whenever we are accelerating, you see an aircraft listen, the force of lift is overcoming the force of weight.
Right.
That's when we get to a certain speed and it wants to go. That means the force of lift has overcome the force of weight. That's when you can take off.
So the force of lift overcomes the force of weight.
Then when you are descending, it's the opposite. The force of gravity, there's a way when you put the throttle back and push this one forward, the force of gravity overcomes the force of lift. That's when you want to descend.
Right.
As you are moving forward, like you push this one, the throttles for the accelerator, the force of thrust. Or we call it power, is overcoming the force of drag.
Okay.
As when you go, then when you want to slow down, the opposite occurs.
Okay.
The force of drag overcomes the force of thrust.
That's amazing.
So there are four forces.
Okay.
Lift, weight, thrust or power, and drag.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. We are almost at the end of our adventure, but what can you tell children who want to be pilots?
All I say is be focused, study hard, right from wherever you are. Study hard, take every subject seriously. It's time to choose your subjects. Be fit, healthy, and you'll be good to go.
Wonderspaced explorers, have you ever wondered what happens to planes when they don't fly about anymore? Well, according to Captain Amor, most of the planes that don't fly anymore go to a plane graveyard. But some planes get used for very interesting things. And in this case, can you see the huge plane behind me? That is now a restaurant. There's an interesting story behind this plane. This plane used to be a Ghana Airways plane. So in 1958, the government of Ghana started an airline called Ghana Airways. This plane has been converted into a restaurant. Can you spot where the Ghana flag is on this plane? Let's see if you can spot where the flag is. I see it. There it is. Whee! We are back. That was an amazing trip. I had so much fun and I learned so much from Captain Amwa and First Officer Bernard. What was your favorite part of the trip? I really enjoyed sitting in the cockpit. I also found a few things kind of cool. Their uniform and how they have different bands to show their levels. Can you remember how many bands you need to be captain? That's right, 4 bands. Captain Amwa and his co-pilot have lots of work to do every single day. Can you remember what countries they were flying to today? That's right, they were going to Liberia and Sierra Leone. On other days, they do domestic flights, which means they fly within Ghana. Ooh, our jet planes are flying. Can you name the different parts of a plane? Let's try. So for this jet plane, what parts can we name? We can name the wings, the engine, the cockpit, landing gear, the stabilizers or the tail, and the fuselage, which is the body of the plane. Those are the main parts we'll talk about for now. Wonderspace Explorers, today for our activity, we're going to learn how to make some paper planes. I'm sure you know how to make some paper planes, and you're thinking, why are we making paper planes? Well, we can learn about the concepts of flight and aerodynamics by making and flying a paper plane. That's a big word, aerodynamics. Captain Amwa taught us 4 words in the cockpit. Those words were thrust, lift, drag, and weight. And we can learn all those concepts with a paper plane. But first, let's start with this model. So, thrust is what moves the plane forward. Next, we have the concept of lift. Lift is what keeps the plane up, and the wings are very important for that. So the pressure above the wing is lower than the pressure beneath the wing, and this causes the lift and keeps the plane up. The third force we have is drag. That's what slows the plane down. And so Captain Amwa said that during takeoff, thrust overcomes drag. Now, the 4th force that we have is weight. And that's what pulls the plane down. That's because of gravity. So once again, with takeoff, lift overcomes weight. So these are some 4 forces that you can remember. You've just learned some concepts or ideas in aerodynamics. How do planes fly? Now, we're going to apply that to our paper planes. But first, let's start making some paper planes. Are you ready to make your own paper plane? We're going to make 2 different types of paper planes, and we'll see which one will fly farther or faster. Let's go. Okay, we're going to make these 2 planes. They're slightly different. Can you spot some of the differences? Now I'm going to fold this side this way. Yep. And then fold this side down like that. Okay. And then I'm going to flip this part over. And then let's get our wings, fold it down. then fold it down. All right, let's start red one first. Are you ready? Whee! Wow! Dun, 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 dun. Whoa! That was close. Which of your plane designs flew the furthest? I hope you had lots of fun making and flying your paper planes. As I always say at the end of our lessons, you are wonderful. Wonderspace Explorers are wonderful. Join us next time. Bye!